What's up, Rockstars? Today I'm going to be making a case for Quackalope. Alright, so I have some new information and I have some really big points I want to make on this. So we're going to be discussing some of the things he said in his live stream, going over some of the numbers he gave, and then also just talking in general about kind of the whole situation. But before that, I want to thank all of my patrons for allowing me to upgrade my lighting in here. It should look a little bit better for you guys. That's obviously thanks to you. And I did get some Into the AM shirts, so I am obliged. This is not a sponsored video from them, by the way, to see what I got, because I am super excited and I don't want to wait any longer. I'm also wearing this dumb work shirt, so may as well see what's going on. They have an 80% off sale. Huge sale going on right now, so feel free to check them out in the link below. I do have a code that gives you an extra 10% on top of that sale, so be sure to check that out. Amazing. Love it. That one's great. What else did I get? Oh, I know exactly what this one is. Sponsors like this help the channel keep going as well. So if you appreciate that, show them some love. They show the channel some love in return. And you guys get a cool shirt like this. On the cheap, great quality, great fit, great feel. I love them, which is why I'm willing to give them a freebie extra shout out like this, just because I love their product. And of course, very nice. Love it. Love it. Very retro. I dig it. Anyway, yeah, awesome. They got some new shirts. Go ahead and check them out. So Quackalope here actually finally did a live stream. He's back from Israel, him and his wife. They are now married. Married home, back to games, live stream. It's a nice 2-hour-long video. I did listen to the entire thing, watched the chat, followed that. I wasn't able to watch it live. I was working, sadly. I don't do this full time yet. It's just not viable, and therefore I had to go to a normal job and go do that stuff. But when I came home, I for sure gave it a listen, and there was a lot of great information. Honestly, this smile that I see on there, I think is pretty genuine. They are definitely happily married and in a good spot in their life in that regard. The YouTube thing kind of is a little sucky. We'll talk over that. But that's kind of where they're at. I'm going to link down to this below. Feel free to check it out for yourself and see what he had to say. And super quick, because I haven't plugged myself enough, link down below is my Patreon. Feel free to support the channel if you appreciate my work in this space. I do really appreciate it. It's an expensive hobby. It's a lot of money to run a YouTube channel like this. I thank you very much for it. I do have a extended edition. The first extended edition is live there for you guys. It covers giving airtime to bad deals, thoughts on the Upper Deck and Disney Lorcana issue, and games I'd never touch without the IP attached. So that's kind of what that's about. But let's go ahead and dive into the Jesse thing. So if you didn't know, they were definitely affected by all of this. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link down to my video where I cover just the order of operations, what each side did, and all that kind of stuff. Feel free to watch that. It is very concise, very detailed, going step by step on kind of what happened and what we know from it. There is another update for their statement, of course, and now this kind of the fallout. I like to call it a retrospective. We do those in my work, and kind of looking back and kind of seeing where things landed. So in this case, they are all looking for jobs now. Right now, with the amount of sponsors that have pulled, the loss in Patreon money, and I think even some ad revenue, I think their views aren't quite as high as they were leading up to that point. They were definitely on a high note for sure. And it does kind of ebb and flow, so it's hard to tell on that. But either way, with the sponsors, which by the way, like sponsor deals, guys, they are worth a ton of money. They really are. It's definitely the bread and butter of most channels. Ad revenue is paltry. Patreon money is very appreciated, but it's not something you can typically run your life on, especially if you have a wife, kids, run and start a family, have a mortgage, stuff like that. But they're all looking for jobs now, at least part-time. So his wife is a nurse at a hospital, and she's kind of doing that sort of thing. And he is looking to start his photography business up again, taking like wedding photographs and stuff like that, kind of traveling and doing that. So that's what they're doing. That being said, they are still running the channel quite strong. They will be at Origins. It sounds like they'll be at Gen Con as well. But their other two employees essentially are also looking for a job, or at least something to do part time. I don't know if they're like completely off Quackalope or not. They didn't really get into that too much. I think it might be a little too early to tell, but it definitely affected them in a huge way. It could always just be temporary. As kind of when there's a lot of drama, companies tend to back off just kind of naturally, which makes total sense, and I think it's understandable. As YouTube creators, I believe they've done the same thing before. Sometimes you don't want to get too close to like a whirlwind, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to back off a little bit on that. Just kind of the thing you have to judge. There was a comment about their safety at Gen Con. What I will say is I went there and I was fine, so I'm sure they would be fine. Mythic Games went there and they were fine. So yeah, it's okay. People are very passionate online, less so in person. So there's that. Anybody's talking a big game online typically is going to be talking a big game in your face. Additionally, people go to Gen Con to have fun. I mean, nobody's there to start a fight. So it's a great experience. Highly recommend you go to a convention like that or any other. They're a blast, and people are just there to enjoy themselves. There is still no realization, I think, on the type of video being the issue. I think the best we got was a maybe not on was that the right decision. He definitely regrets it in this case, but he also talked about how great of a thing it was for like YouTube. And for ad revenue money, yes. For working with companies, it depends on if that, again, it's the same thing. If the business deal goes south, then that can go bad. And it just takes one person to take it, to heart a little bit, to kind of really, really go bad. So when you're playing up stuff like that, like this is the worst game ever, it's just, it's very difficult. And it's something I've made the mistake on as well. I think I've learned firsthand, first of all, that people make mistakes. I've also seen firsthand that, and really done a lot of research on this now too, to try and learn and grow, that when you're providing criticism about something, your delivery matters on if it's heard or not, taken seriously or not. You can make the best points ever, but if you then make these like snide remarks, or you dial it up to 11, or you do all these other things, it takes away from your kind of authoritative look on it, your serious look on it, and it makes people not take it seriously. It makes people take it the wrong way. It makes people not listen. And so if you can get people that are like-minded, right? I think he actually called it a essentially bias confirmation or whatever, where it's like, I don't like this game and I just want to hear somebody hate on it. You'll get that, but you will never have a good reaction from the people that are just curious, from the people that disagree with that part of it but agree with the others. Stuff like that. It's why I do the reviews I do now. It's why I do the negative criticism the way that I do now, because how you speak and present yourself and express your opinions matters just as much as what those opinions even are and whether or not they're valid, because they can be completely valid, but you put them in a video like that and nobody's going to take it seriously. And that's kind of the unfortunate part. And I think he saw that from like the NPI review, which had very similar criticisms, but did it in a bit more serious tone. Now, not completely. He definitely has his own kind of style of expressing himself and stuff like that. And a lot of creators do. Part of that's for entertainment value, right? And you kind of have a little bit of that. But anyway, I think I think people can make mistakes. I think people can definitely grow from them, especially over time. One thing I will say about that is I've also made mistakes in the past, obviously. As you guys know, I've said things, worded things in ways that were inappropriate or came off wrong, or I wasn't in the right headspace or whatever, and it drove subscribers away. Some of you that are watching right now probably unsubscribed in the past. And for kind of failing to do what I should be doing with this platform for you guys. I do apologize for that. It's something I think both parties in this situation kind of failed their respective audiences and failed to respect the platform that they have. Something, again, I've done as well. But hopefully at least I'm showing that you can learn from it. You can grow from it. Not everybody has a great first reaction, but it's that slow internal reaction that I think matters a lot. A lot of people get instantly defensive. A lot of people make excuses very quickly or get upset or get hurt or whatever, especially if you're new to it. I know when I was first new to getting called bad things online, I did not always take it very well. I did not always respond with the grace and maturity that I could. I definitely earned a lot of it from the way that I presented myself, and trying to grow from it now. So I guess that's my biggest case for them, is that just because he made a mistake here doesn't mean that there's not a bright future in store for him and his channel if he chooses to kind of grow from this and learn from this. And hopefully the industry at large, because creators as well, there was a lot of bandwagoning, I think, on both sides. I was one of the few that kind of looked at both sides, I felt. I think a lot of people just chose one camp or another and then kind of staked their claim into that. Typical kind of internet reaction, knee-jerk reaction stuff, right? Again, it's very easy to say things online. It's a little bit harder to do that in person. So hopefully I'm not speaking in any way that I wouldn't speak to him face-to-face as. And hopefully we can kind of be mature about stuff like this. He was saying that people were messaging his wife saying not to marry him, that he's a terrible, abusive person, and all. I mean, there is guys, calm down. Like, I know that's probably none of you, but that's insane, is what that is. That's crazy. He is more than his YouTube channel. I am more than my YouTube channel. Any mistake I do here doesn't necessarily speak to my core as a person, and I think the same for him as well. The only other thing that I guess a little advice that I would give to anybody thinking about doing YouTube work or anything like this is to grow in a smart way. The crowdfunding board games, you developers, and you guys watch as well, definitely grow in kind of a safe and smart way. He talked about spending $3,000-ish, about $3,000 worth of effort on like the 50 hours for the three of them to do the work on Retrospective Odyssey, the gameplay and stuff like that. I don't know how sustainable that is, but it doesn't sound very sustainable to me. I think there's leaner ways to do it. Maybe you don't grow quite as fast, but I think seeing where he's at now from growing so fast and making the mistakes that he's making at a large scale, I'm very thankful that when I made my mistakes, I was at like 10,000 subscribers. 15,000 subscribers, right? Which is still a lot. But the earlier you make those mistakes and the smaller scale it is, by the time you do get big, hopefully it's better. Same with companies, right? Mythic Games, same thing. They were growing so big, so fast that eventually it was just cut out from beneath them, and they didn't have the strength and maturity of a company to weather that storm as well as they could have otherwise. So just be smart about it. This is an expensive hobby, and it's not very viable to run a channel as a full-time job and have employees and stuff like that in its current state, at least without doing a lot of deals and just trying to be smart about it and run a lean machine here. This is just me. I pay my teenage daughter a little bit of money to edit my videos, and other than that, that's the only cost besides these super expensive games, lighting and equipment and filming equipment and all that stuff, and of course valuing my time spent doing this as well. But it's hard. So anyway, that's kind of the fallout here. The fallout for Retrospective Odyssey is they lost they lost a lot of money on their last day, like a lot. And I think that's more how they ran the company than anything, or ran the campaign than anything. They just did a lot of add-ons and stuff like that. I think a lot of people, when they finally checked it out, were like, yeah, nope, I'm out. I think the NPI review did affect it a little bit. I think it affected it more than the Quackalope thing did, which is kind of interesting. When I first talked to ITU afterwards, I asked them if he felt that Jesse's video affected them financially, and he said not that they could tell. But I think the NPI review did. And again, they had mostly the same criticisms. But the way you say it matters. It makes people listen. It makes people trust. It makes people value what you're saying, as opposed to just smiling or laughing or getting some entertainment value out of it. Far more impactful is what it seems to me. So anyway, that's kind of all I want to say there. I understand you guys make your decision the way you want to see it, but having made mistakes in the past, having lost subscribers in the past, having had mean comments in the past, I hope that I can at least be a little bit of an example of hopefully giving people a second chance, allowing people to make mistakes, and just noting how they decide to pick themselves up from those mistakes, how they decide to move forward with it. And sometimes, if they're like me, they can be really stubborn, and it takes a while. But I think there's still a future there for them, and I'll be interested to see where that is. Guys, if you have any more thoughts on this, this is probably the last, I think, video in this entire series now that he's kind of posted this. I think everybody's just moving on from there. This was kind of the last little capstone there, but hopefully this kind of retrospective view on things helped. I've thought about doing this for campaigns as well. If there's ever been any campaigns that I think you could learn from, maybe in a news video I cover it. It's like, this closed. I think they could have done better here, or like this Let me know if that's useful to you or not. Again, feel free to check out Under the AM. They make amazing shirts. Feel free to check out my Patreon link down below for that extended edition, or just to support this channel, guys. Thank you so much. And check out his live stream too. That's linked down below as well. I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon with a full-blown normal news video. So stay tuned for that. Take care, guys.